Welcome to Helen Collier-Kogtevs' Rant on Property Investing. This show is all about helping you retire with an income for life through low-risk property investing strategies. And now, relax and enjoy the show.
Helen Collier-Kogtevs, we are firing up Skype once again to have another chat for our podcast series for Real Wealth Australia. How are you?
I'm really good, David. How are you going?
Good. This is where we get to feed off your knowledge and you get to have a bit of a rant. And this one is interesting in the lead up to Christmas. And I guess this applies at any particular point in time, not just for Christmas, but 7 investor tips that will give you a Merry Christmas. This is something that you guys are focusing on at the moment.
Yes, that's right.
And so we just go through them and you can have a spray on each one if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay, investor tip number 1, do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. Why do you say this?
Well, you know, when everyone's sitting down eating Christmas turkey and pie or pudding, I'm sort of saying to clients, you know what, now's a really good time to be investing. And in fact, one of the stories I often share is when a vendor puts a property on the market, and normally it's in spring, and if it hasn't sold, they kind of have this mindset of, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we could have Christmas and having had our property sold? And when you kind of get, you know, October come along, November come and go, and now it's in December, and it's like they're sitting there going, we need a sale. Sometimes it makes them a little bit more motivated. So if you're in the market for property, maybe consider Christmas as an opportunity to be getting in there and getting some great bargains because you've got more motivated vendors.
Okay. Now, we did a couple of podcasts based around this topic, which is property managers, and if anybody wants to have a listen, they're up on iTunes. Go and download them. But at this time of year, you recommend reevaluating your property manager.
Yeah, it's a really important part of the process. A property manager is not what I call a set and forget. You do need to make sure they're still doing what they need to be doing and working for you, rather than just kind of collecting the rent and then collecting their commission as a result. You want them to be making sure they're looking after your property, because ultimately that is your investment, that is your future wealth. So you want to make sure that you've got the best people on the team. Now, Christmas time is a time when most people have a bit of a break, so I see it as an opportunity to kind of regroup, reassess and go, all right, are they still working for me, are they not? The flip side to that is quite often throughout the year you might have had a property manager that's looking after you. They might have signed you up. However, they might have moved on and you've got another property manager, and maybe they're not delivering the same level of service as the previous property manager was. So again, it's an opportunity to shop around and make sure that you find someone, or that you've got someone on your team that's really looking after you.
Okay. Number 3 is review your rents. So you reckon you should go through your rent book and see what you're charging, and should we boost it or should we lower it for people and be nice at Christmas?
Yeah, well, it depends on the market, okay? So if the market is growing strong, well, then absolutely you should boost it. I'm a fan of every time you renew a lease, you should renew the rent, or obviously increase the rent if the market is strong. If the market is down, then sure, you might need to consider dropping your rent. But instead of dropping the rent for Christmas or anything like that, I say keep the rent or increase it if the market allows it, but then gift your tenants a gift, whether it be a box of chocolates, gold class movie tickets, a slab of beer, depending on where they're at. Nice. Flowers, whatever. It's just to say thank you for looking after the place, because again, they too are looking after your investment and they're looking after your wealth creation.
That's a really good idea. What about staggering your rental leases?
Yeah, that's really good too. The reason for that is because quite often, if you happen to purchase a property around this time and a tenant has just moved in November, well, the last thing you want is for your lease to come due in November of next year. Because if the tenant moves out, you then potentially have all of Christmas or December without a tenant. It is harder to find a tenant that time of year. You might want to do some research around when is the popular time for tenants in that particular suburb or town that you have your investment in. And traditionally, across the board, so this is just a general rule, February and June or June, July are really popular months for there's a higher increase of demand from tenants. So people are moving, or they're starting the new year. They start kind of in February, or it's around the financial year time. So if you've got a lease that falls due in November and it's a 12-month lease, I would recommend you ask for a 14-month lease to get you over the hump of December and January. And what does it do? Puts you straight into peak period.
Nice. And we just mentioned this. You reckon you should reward your tenants, but only if they're good.
And they should, you should reward your tenants, and sometimes if you've got a tenant that's had life happen during the year and they've missed a month or something's happened to them, they've lost their job or relationship breakup or whatever, if they've got back on board and they're doing well again, then, just send them a thank you, like I said, a gift card or wine, chocolates, whatever. I mean, that happened to us where we had a family living in one of our investment properties. They split. She moved out with the kids. He was left there. He wanted to stay there. He moved in a friend, but then he went through some severe depression and really ended up in a bit of a hole, and it took him a good 6 months. So there were months when we just didn't take any rent, and then there were months where we took less rent. So obviously we wanted to keep the mortgage being paid, but we worked with him and we were able to get him through it, where he was able to come back bigger and stronger and greater and and independent again. So he kind of had his emotional breakdown, came good, and then got back on board, got back on with life again, which was really great. So sometimes it's best to support your tenants when they're having tough times rather than just kind of straight away giving them an eviction notice.
Okay. And you also recommend checking in with your mortgage broker. Is that just to check over your rates and see whether you're getting the best deal that you can get?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, there are so many changes that are occurring right now with finance, with the new APRA rules, with the banks kind of doing their own thing to some degree as well. So it's probably, I see it again, because most people are having some time off, as an opportunity to connect in with your broker to go, hey, am I getting the best rate? Can I be doing something better? Is there another loan product that will serve me better? Or, how are the rules impacting? So it's a really good idea to just connect and make sure that everything's ticking along nicely.
Nicely. And finally, number 7, you've got set new goals for the new year, which is what everybody tends to do. It's whether you stick with those resolutions that count.
Yeah, see, a resolution is a little bit different to a goal for me.
Yep.
And I say, every January, when I go, oh, gee, it'd be nice to lose a couple of pounds. But, I really set goals around, right, okay, by June, I'm going to achieve X, Y, and Z, and by the end of the year, I need to have A, B, and C. And I'm very clear, I'm very detailed in my goal setting. I even kind of write out action plans so that I keep moving, so that each month I can see, I've done that, tick. Oh, the following month, oh, great, I've done that, tick. So I get very clear and very focused on my goals, but I usually like to kind of set them round about the Christmas time when I'm having a break, and then I like to review them throughout the year when I also have breaks throughout the year, just to make sure I'm on track.
There you go. 7 investor tips that will give you a very Merry Christmas, and if you follow those, hopefully it will be. Helen, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you for listening to Helen Collier-Kogtevs' rant on property investing. To join her students in following her 10 properties in 10 years investing system, please go to www.realwealthaustralia.com.au to book a no-obligation complimentary chat with one of her coaches.